So today was a tough day. There are very, very few trading days that are this challenging. This is something special. I made a video a couple of days ago about how volatility spiked this past Friday and how that candle in the VIX futures was the largest candle I could remember at least in a couple of years. That was a huge spike in volatility this past Friday. Well, today's candle in the VIX future basically told Friday's candle, hold my beer, because we just saw the VIX explode. And if you were short any kind of options, it didn't matter if you were short puts, short calls, direction didn't matter. You could have been primarily a bullish trader with short puts or primarily a bearish trader with short calls. You got run over today. And I saw some things in my account that I had never seen before. And I've had some situations where I've lost thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars. I've blown up some accounts, especially early in my trading career. I've made some, trading mistakes that were pretty bad, but I thought I was in a pretty safe place. Even on Friday, after the big down moves on Thursday and Friday last week, my account, I had closed some things for a loss. Like I was trying to actually put myself in a good position to where, if the market kept going down, I really didn't think, I was going to lose some money, but I wasn't going to, lose a ton of money. But oh boy, the moves I saw overnight, when the futures started crashing last night, the ES futures and the NQ futures, all of a sudden the NQ futures were down like 1,200 points or something crazy. And then that crazy volatility spike where VIX jumped up 50% in one day, right? That's just an insane move. And what was funny is the timing on some of my stuff was just all wrong. So Friday, I was trying to adjust some things. I rolled some things out into the future, and I had some MES futures positions. So the MES is the micro S&P 500 future. So it's a smaller product, but it's still, the MES futures represent about 50 shares of SPY. So it's not like a tiny product. And what I did the other day on Friday, I rolled some short puts that were starting to go against me in a big way. I rolled them out in time. I rolled them out to like 100 days to give myself more time to be right on these two short puts that were very underwater. But I was able to roll them out in time and down in price. And then just to make myself even safer, you know what I did? I sold two calls against those two puts. So I created this rather large strangle. And because I had the two calls on, I thought I was even safer. And then that volatility spike happened overnight. I woke up this morning and the first thing I noticed is that my account, I had lost like 15% of my account value is what it was reporting this morning as far as my P&L. I was down huge. All the gains I'd made this year were completely wiped out and then some. I'm actually down on the year as of like this morning I was. But a lot of that was just bad prints. The volatility spike just had a lot of bad prints, especially on the futures products. The bid-ask spreads were real wide, and you really couldn't get an accurate gauge of what was going on. So the strangle that I sold Friday, which was when I rolled it out, it was neither up or down money. What happened this morning, I took a look at that same position, and that strangle was down $7,000 on a position that was not down at all on Friday. And it was out of the money, way out of the money, puts and calls at 103 days out, or something crazy. And neither the puts or, the puts were not in the money. I was still way out of the money. Even with the crash down, my puts were not yet in the money. And so why am I down $7,000? And then the calls, here's the thing. When I'm looking at why that strangle is now $7,000, the two puts are $4,000 underwater. The two calls that I sold on Friday, even though the market crashed down, the two calls were showing they were down $3,000. So together, the string was down $7,000, and it was all volatility more than direction. It was all volatility. And thankfully, when the market opened, a lot of those futures positions that were way underwater for me, thankfully, like some of the buying power requirements came down, some of the P&L that was showing massive losses, some of that started to normalize a little bit. And now, I'm only down probably a third of what it was showing initially this morning, which is still a huge loss. I mean, just like everybody else, I'm not the only one. You guys are losing tons of money. We're all losing money on a day like today. This is a very unusual day. You don't get this kind of spike in volatility just come out of nowhere like this. Like even the COVID crash, where volatility, of course, spiked big time, but COVID was such an unusual event, right? In this, I mean, there's no pandemic going on. The world just didn't all of a sudden shut down. Airplanes are still flying, things like that. So this is a weird move. And anyway, I just wanted to make today's video because, if you sit there and you were able to remain calm, things started to normalize a little bit. I was able to take some of my positions off for smaller losses than what they were initially showing. I was also able to actually buy some puts, sell some calls, things like that, to kind of neutralize some of those long deltas that were starting to go against me in a big way. And thankfully I only had about 40% of my buying power in use on Friday. But here's the thing. I thought I was in a really safe position on Friday, but that volatility spike, even with what I thought was a really safe overall portfolio of positions, my buying power this morning when I got up was about 90%. So my buying power requirement was 40% on Friday. This morning I woke up, it was 90% and rising. At one point, I thought it might creep up a little bit above 100% and trigger a margin call. So thankfully that didn't happen, and it looks like the move, we may get some more down moves, but we're not going to get this kind of giant move. I think this is hopefully the last of this kind of move. Now, if it does move lower, hopefully it just kind of creeps lower a little bit, and like this morning's move where it was down like 6 or 7% or whatever the hell it was in the NASDAQ. Yeah, like you can't fight that move. All you can do is just sit there and take it. Anyway, no real point to today's video. I just wanted to share, some of the heartache that I've experienced today. I just wanted to let you guys know that, again, you're not alone in this. We're all in this. And at the end of the day, all you can do is really just, in the future, just stay small. Keep your position sizes small. And if you're like me, don't trade too many futures products because the futures, when volatility spikes in some of these futures products, you can really get run over in a big way. Anyway, ran over, guys. Peace.